you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Have you ever?
Alright, what's up everybody? My name is Thabo Moloi and welcome to my YouTube channel as I try and share some insights, try and share some thoughts, give you a little bit of an inside scoop as what goes on in my head and try to help you in terms of some of the stuff that I've learned in my tenure throughout my career in various roles as an account manager, as a private banker, as a business developer, and also share, some insights as an up-and-coming entrepreneur, someone that has taken the plunge to go into entrepreneurship full-time, having recently resigned from my job. It's crazy how many people have this aspiration of, starting a business. 8 times out of 10, you'll meet a person and they'll tell you what they do and then ask them about, future plans or ideally where they'd like to see themselves. And 8 times out of 10, I don't know what it is, but particularly in South Africa, in the demographic of, let's call it between 20 and 30 years old, a lot of young people want to start their own businesses, which is phenomenal. It's really, really great because we live in a country that is desperate for entrepreneurship. I mean, the unemployment figures were released on the 31st of July in South Africa by Stats SA. And man, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I think unemployment went up from, I think it was 26 point something to over 27%, 27 point something percent. A staggeringly high figure. And from an employment perspective, it looks like we're going backwards. But yeah, over 6 million people who are struggling to find employment. I mean, that's staggering. I think we've just got an employment workforce of just over 16 million. So the world, especially South Africa is desperate for entrepreneurship because we need people who are going to build businesses, who are going to grow businesses that hopefully employ more people. So, I get encouraged, I get inspired, I really, get a warm fuzzy feeling in my heart whenever I bump into someone who, has the prospects and hopes of starting their own businesses. And then I look at the numbers of people who are actually taking action. And it is very, very low, like staggeringly low in terms of the people who want to start businesses and the people who actually do go on to start business. And I'm not talking about, succeeding. I know that we have a high startup failure for various reasons that, hopefully within, the course of these videos throughout my career as an entrepreneur, I'll also shed some light as to why some businesses succeed and some businesses fail. In my career, I've worked with very successful business people that have grown, phenomenal enterprises, and they've shed a lot of light in terms of what has helped them really, really succeed. So I want to make sure that I do the same in terms of pass on that knowledge, because I want to see as many of us, building businesses and succeeding. So for me, it's critically important that we give each other the framework of thinking, the tools that are required. Now, what I've seen is that there are a lot of people who want to start businesses, but there are not a lot of people who are actually taking the steps to start something. Some people are not even positioning themselves, in environments that will propel them to take action. So, we've got a bias for, writing things down. We've got a bias for having the right intentions. We've got a bias for setting big, audacious goals. We've got a bias for setting objectives. Every year on the 30th and 31st of December, we set these New Year's resolutions. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So we've got this bias of having plans, having objectives, of having these resolutions, having these great intentions, but we don't have a bias for action. All right? We don't have a bias for action. And I'll tell you why we don't have a bias for action. Because there's a number of things that people do that make it difficult for them to take action. So not a lot of people take actions because first and foremost, they haven't decided. The first thing you need to do is you gotta decide. You gotta decide, this is what I want to do, and I'm gonna do it. And so not a lot of people take actions because first and foremost, they haven't decided. The first thing you need to do is you gotta decide. You gotta decide, this is what I want to do, and I'm gonna do it. And make a firm resolution with yourself in your headspace that whether it's waking up at 5 or 4, whether it's exercising in the morning, whatever the case may be, it's important that you decide. And then remove the things that make it difficult for you to act upon the decision. You gotta make the environment for yourself as easy as possible for you, to take the decision. And I think that comes from a self-awareness. So maybe it's setting your alarm and then putting your phone alarm extremely loud and then putting it on the other side of the bed or on the other side of your bedroom. So you have to get out of bed to turn it off. You need to start conditioning your mind and forcing yourself to do the right thing. Because if you don't, you're always going to get stuck in the same place. If you rely on how you feel, if you rely on your mood, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to get stuck in bed. And you're going to get left behind, and you're going to build this bad habits that entrenches a mindset of just giving up on yourself. Have you met people that just give up on themselves? They bright people, they people with great prospects, and you can see, if they were to just change a few things, not a lot, just change a few things in their life, they would be really, really ahead. They're just giving up on themselves, and it's these small habits of settling, of not doing what you said you would do, that entrench this habit and this mindset of giving up on yourself. So you want to break that completely. You want to just demolish that thing, because if you don't, it will grow into a root that really is difficult to get rid of later on in life. So you want to do the small things. It's the small things that when you add up, at the end of the day, make a big difference. That's all it is, really. Like, if you study the greats, if you study really prominent people that have built amazing businesses, people that have progressed quite tremendously in their careers, all they do is just accumulate small habits. They just do small little things every day that turn into habits. Small little things. It doesn't have to be big things. And that's another thing that really, really discourages a lot of people, is that we have these big, audacious goals. And when we think about them, they really scare us and really they're not really encouraging. At the end of the day, they actually counterproductive. You got this big goal. I want $10 million or 130 million rands or whatever, and you really haven't broken it down to bite-sized amounts that you can really tackle. And I'm all about having big dreams. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about setting audacious, big, scary goals for yourself. But I'm also about making that as possible, making that as attainable as possible. And the only way you can do that is really breaking it down to bite-sized goals, bite-sized objectives. You'll be surprised about how many people don't have daily goals. Just daily goals. Say, I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to, exercise, and I'm going to achieve X, Y, and Z before 8 a.m. Before the day starts, for a lot of people, I want to make sure that I've achieved more than most. You know what I mean? And that becomes a habit of winning. Because let me tell you something about successful people. Successful people are successful because they succeed. Now, I know that sounds repetitive and sounds very basic, but it's actually quite a profound statement, because success is not something that is a once-off event. You're not successful because you just smashed a big goal and that's it. You just can sit on your ass the rest of your life and dwell on laurels of past achievements. No. You're successful because daily you're smashing targets, you're smashing goals. Daily, you're living a life where you're constantly achieving things. And that is a habit that you need to build. There's people that think, I will be successful when I achieve this. I will be successful when I get to this level. No. Success starts today. It starts with you saying, I want to be successful. So what do I need to do to make sure that I'm constantly succeeding? What goals do I need to set for myself to make sure that I'm constantly meeting objectives and growing to the next level? And that's the key thing. It's like an athlete. An athlete who's maybe a long distance runner or a sprinter, they set themselves times. They set themselves various targets that they want to achieve, milestones that they want to achieve, and then they do things that stretch themselves towards those things. So whether it's reading books to say, look, I want to grow and elevate in my thinking, whether it's watching videos and consuming podcasts that will really elevate, it's you saying, look, I'm going to cut and set aside time for me to have this input built into my life, because ultimately I know the person I want to be, and this is what I'm willing to do to get there. And it's a daily thing. So for me, that's a big thing around developing a strong bias for action. Is if you make the goal unattainable, then guess what? You're not going to have the motivation to go for it. And if success becomes these big one-off event, then you're going to have a wrong mindset of success. You're going to see yourself as unsuccessful. You're going to entrench negative mindsets and bad habits. And it's going to be very difficult for you to become successful in doing daily things and achieving daily objectives and daily tasks.